All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for All Ohio Students, sponsored by the Ohio Association for College Admission Counseling and Strive Scan. Thank you for joining us this evening for the University of Kentucky information session. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to type your questions to the presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. And this is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at oacac.org. The presentation is being recorded and will be available in about a week at the same website, oacac.org. I will now turn it over to Jacob and Addison.
All right, thank you, Ross. So hello, everyone. I hope y'all are doing well. First things first, I'm going to share my screen and get our presentation pulled up. So just give me 1 second to get that. All righty. So I hope you guys are doing well on this Thursday afternoon. So my name is Jacob Westover. I, alongside Addison, are our admissions counselors for Ohio. So I cover the Northern and Central Ohio region, and then I'm gonna let Addison introduce himself.
Hey team, like Jacob said, we work together in the state of Ohio, and I cover the Southern Ohio region, and I will be the one answering your questions in chat today. So you won't see my face. I'm gonna be distraction free for Jacob to take over and give you a good showcase of what UK has to offer you, but glad to have you guys in and can't wait to get started.
Yeah, awesome. So like we all said, any questions that you all have, definitely please let us know. We're happy to answer those questions, but we'll go ahead and jump right in and talk a little bit about UK. We'll talk a little bit about how to apply, admissions, campus, Lexington, just to kind of give you the full, well-rounded picture of our university. So just some highlights that we really want to start students and families with off the bat is that we have an enrollment of about 31,000 students, which sounds big, and it is a big school. But believe me when I say, and Addison can attest to this, that there are a lot of different ways that we make that number feel smaller. So if you are looking at a big university, but maybe want to still have that personal connection and feel to it, UK definitely has a good fit for that. We have over 200 different programs and majors that our students can choose from, so that is a lot. And it ranges from business to engineering to fine arts, and I'll kind of show you that breakdown on the next slide. But another important note is that we offer a very small, on average, class size. Our student to faculty ratio is about 16:1, and the average class size tends to be about 25 students. So knowing that you can still come to a larger institution, but have that personal connection with your professors and your classmates really is a great selling point for students and families, because they want to make sure that they're not just a number. They really are having that personal attention to them. So we want to emphasize that as well here at UK. Some other bullet points that you'll see there. We do offer an exploratory studies option for students. So if you have students that maybe have a lenient area or maybe are leaning towards a certain path, but just aren't quite sure yet what yet, they can declare exploratory studies in 9 of our academic colleges. In addition, another bullet point, now this year is definitely a little bit different, but education abroad is a really big highlight here at UK. Close to 19% of our undergraduates will do a study abroad program at some point before graduating. Again, in a typical year, we really emphasize that. This year, it's definitely a little more challenging with all the circumstances, but hopefully when we get back to that, we really push education abroad for our students. So as I mentioned, with those 200 majors and programs, it is broken up amongst 16 academic colleges, which you see on the right-hand side. So we truly have a little bit of everything, from your agriculture down to your nursing, to your business, education, and also your professional schools like medicine, pharmacy, dentistry, etc. But one thing we really love sharing as well, as you see, is that we're only one of 8 institutions nationwide that offer most of those disciplines, such as the liberal arts, the engineering, the agriculture, medical schools, all on one contiguous campus, which really speaks to the convenience of doing your academic enrichment at UK. So for a lot of these programs, especially students, if you're going to do things like clinicals, shadowing, observation hours, undergraduate research, you pretty much are going to be doing that in your backyard. The same place that you take your freshman courses, the same place you're going to eat on campus, that you're living in the residence halls, is the same place where you can do all that and have all those amazing opportunities. So another great aspect to UK that we want families to know about. In addition, we also have a few new majors, just a quick slide. So for any students who might be interested, so a couple of these we are adding for this fall semester, and that's biomedical engineering and product design. So they're brand new for this year. And then public policy and African American and Africana studies, we introduced last fall. So they've been on campus for about a year, but relatively 4 new programs altogether. So again, just making sure that families and students are aware of those opportunities. Now, it wouldn't be UK if we didn't mention the amazing athletics component behind us. So we are a D1 athletic school in the SEC conference, and we definitely don't shy away from the fact that athletics is one of the things that really makes us the Wildcats. So especially students, if you are looking for that blend of academics and athletics, you can find that here for sure. We are the Big Blue Nation, as our sports fan base is called. And just knowing that if you have that school spirit, that rah-rah cheer atmosphere that you are wanting in a school, you will find it. And a lot of these academics and athletics really bring the community together. There's a lot that athletics does for both UK and for Lexington. So knowing that they are a pinnacle and something that we really look up to is really that much more special here at UK. And on top of that, a lot of these games are free for students, so you really are getting your bargain worth when you're coming down to here for the UK. Okay, so let's dive into the admissions process. So no matter if you are a senior, when it's kind of go time right now, or if you're an underclassman, all this is still pertinent for everybody. So when you apply to UK, we have 2 different tracks that students can apply through. They can either apply early action or regular decision. Early action coincides, as you can see here, with our admissions, as well as our competitive scholarships, the honors program, academic scholarships, and a couple other things. And that deadline is December 1. So honestly, I would encourage students to really ingrain that in your mind. December 1 is our early action deadline. The regular decision deadline is also available for students to apply for. That deadline is February 15th. So while it is for admissions, as you see, it does not coincide with our academic competitive scholarships or the honors program. So definitely choose the path that is best suited for you. And then eventually, as you are admitted to UK, you will apply for housing as well as your dining meal plans, and you can see those deadlines, and we will continue to communicate that as we go throughout the cycle. And then pretty much across a lot of universities, and we're the same, we have a May 1 deadline, which is basically our enrollment deadline to put down your housing prepayment, your deposits for orientation, etc. And again, these will still be reminded to you as we continue to go throughout the fall semester and into the spring semester as well. Now, on the application, when you are applying, there are 3 different sources that students can apply through. There is one online, if you go to applyuk.com. We also are on Common App, which is a pretty popular platform, and then the Coalition. So whichever you feel is best, definitely pick what is more convenient. We do not care what you choose. On the application, we do require the application fee, as well as the official high school transcript, which a lot of times you can work with your school counselors on getting sent over to us. And then new for this year, so seniors in particular, this is pertinent for you, we have a test optional policy. So for students that perhaps do not want us to look at or consider test scores, or in the circumstance that some students are having, if you're unable to take a test, we now allow that flexibility with our test optional policy. If you ever have any questions, we do have a page on our admissions website. If you Google UKY test optional, it'll pull up, and it just gives you a couple of Q&A questions to help guide your answers and kind of ultimately decide, what is going to be the best path forward for you regarding test optional. Now, there are a couple things we are still hashing out when it comes to test optional. So for example, some of our selective programs and a few scholarships, we are still hashing out those details for students that are applying test optional. And we hope in the coming weeks, we should have some more answers on that. But if you ever have questions regarding those, feel free to reach out to myself, Addison, or check our website, and we'll hopefully have that updated for you all. Now, on the application, and a lot of schools and universities will tell you this, we use a pretty holistic approach when we look at your application. So students, definitely be mindful that yes, inside of the classroom is going to be important, like your grades, test scores, your rigor of coursework. So if you're taking AP courses, IB courses, College Credit Plus, which I know is very popular for high schoolers as well, that's great. And also important are going to be things outside of the classroom, such as your extracurriculars, leadership roles, awards or recognitions you may have received. In addition, we do have essays. We do have an admissions essay and an essay for our competitive scholarships. So that's a really great way to see you as an individual, see how you think, your creativeness, etc. So we kind of just emphasize all this to say that college applications do take some time. And if you ever have questions, definitely let us know. We're here to help as much as possible. And just so you all know, there's no minimum GPA or test score that we do require for admissions at UK. But on average, just so you have kind of a baseline, average GPA is around a 3.77 weighted. Unweighted, that's around 3.52. Average SAT is about 1191. ACT is about 25.9. So just for your reference there. Okay, so now we're going to dive more into the financial aid element of UK. So the first thing we always advocate for is FAFSA, so the free application for federal student aid. So families, this is a wonderful opportunity to take advantage of some additional aid like grants, loans, work study, or select need-based scholarships and aid. This does go live October 1st for seniors, so if any seniors are in the room, just keep that in mind. While you don't have to be on your computer directly when it opens, just be mindful that as we progress throughout the fall and into the spring, the amount of money that FAFSA gives out tends to dwindle. So you just want to capitalize on that as early as possible if you are interested. If you ever have questions, please feel free to reach out to our financial aid office. Every student has a financial aid counselor based off of your last name. They will help you through the FAFSA. Any questions you may have regarding that, they'll be very helpful for you all. Now, in terms of scholarships, so these scholarships you see here are published on our website, and these do require the test score and the GPA. As I mentioned, we are hashing out those details regarding test optional students. We'll have those in the coming weeks, but for these, you can see they are ready and on the website. So I'm not going to go through every single one, but just to kind of give you the idea of it, academic scholarships look solely at the GPA and test score. If students meet those, they will be considered for that scholarship. So for out-of-state students, this is the Bluegrass Spirit Scholarship. Starting criteria is a 25 ACT or a 1200 SAT and a 3.0 unweighted GPA or higher. And the award value typically ranges somewhere between $8,000 per year and $12,500 per year based on that criteria. And then next tier is our competitive scholarships. So these are more selective. There's the essay component behind that as well. The award values will start at full tuition for both and then go up. The criteria to meet to start is a 31 ACT or a 1390 SAT and a 3.5 unweighted GPA or higher. And as you'll kind of see the theme as we go along, all of our scholarships do look at unweighted GPA versus weighted, so just something else to keep in mind. Selective scholarships pertaining to specific programs, but for out-of-state, they could be eligible for Patterson. So for any students that are National Merit Finalists or National Hispanic Finalists or recognition, when they get us the proper credentials and things of that nature, they can then receive the Patterson, which would cover full tuition. And then there are some other opportunities, such as our William C. Parker Diversity Scholarship, and that is a great opportunity. You will apply for that through the admissions application. Certain departmental scholarships, especially if you're wanting to go into, let's say, engineering, business, agriculture, etc. Some of those colleges do offer their own separate scholarship programs. And then legacy tuition is solely for out-of-state students, for any students whose parents or step-parents attended UK and are graduated from UK and are life members in our alumni association. So these are just a handful. These are by no means end all be all, but definitely keep in mind for some of these, they do require separate applications. So if you are interested, just be sure to look on the website first to make sure you're not missing out on anything in particular. Okay, so now real quickly, we'll talk about campus transformation. So if anybody has had the opportunity to visit campus, wonderful. But for those who haven't, just know that we do offer some in-person visits right now. You can go to visit.uky.edu, and that takes you to our visitor center page. So if you are wanting to visit campus, there are some new guidelines we want you to read about, so just make sure you do that. Or if you want to take a self-guided tour, which is basically you and the people that you come with, and you're kind of really seeing what you want to see, making your own path, that's totally fine as well. But campus has really undergone a lot of transformations over the past decade. Addison and I can both attest to that. As being alums of UK, we've seen the transformation that this university has gone under, and with that has come a lot of new things. A lot of new buildings, like our science building, which 2/3 of that money was actually funded by UK Athletics. So like I said, really doing a lot for our university and for the community. But in addition, things like our business school, which has major renovations. The 90, which is a popular eating area for students if they really want to get together, hang out with students, grab some food, etc. One highlight for sure is our student center, which we opened just a few years ago, which really is the living room on campus. And it really brings students together. Now, obviously, given the circumstances right now, this is not the typical scene, but hopefully when we get back to some kind of normalcy, you really do see it is a community for all. And we really want to share that space with everybody. In addition, our residence halls, that is another big highlight on our campus. We've redefined what it means to live on campus. Our residence halls are some of the best in the nation. I'm not afraid to say that. Here's just one prime example of what a typical residence hall room looks like nowadays. You know, you have a lot of upgraded features like granite countertops, double vanity sinks, memory foam mattresses, and all the rooms on campus, a microwave or fridge is provided. So students do not have to bring a separate one down if they don't want to. And all of our rooms are suite style, meaning that your bathroom is in your room. So if there's any parents on this meeting with us, if you all remember those golden days of traditional style and you had your shower caddy and your robe and you had to walk down, oh, I know, right? Tragic. Well, we no longer have those. Those have all been pushed aside. So it really is a upgrade to living on campus. And we want students to live on campus. There's a lot of added benefits, as you'll see, and that's kind of into our next segment. So, you know, living on campus really gives you that quintessential college experience. You really get to experience Lexington and UK on a whole new scale. You're closer to your professors' offices. You're making friends. But again, as nice as they are, as you saw just in that one slide, it's definitely worth the investment. Now, again, you're not required to, but about 90% of our incoming freshmen will live on campus. In addition, there's a variety of room types. And let's say after your freshman year, if you loved it so much, you want to stay again, even as upperclassmen, we do have specific upperclassmen buildings that are actually apartment style that will include the microwave, the fridge, the oven, a fully stocked kitchen, as well as washer dryer units in there as well. So again, something just to kind of take advantage of if you're interested. And you'll see here, we also have what are called 13 living learning programs. So if you are interested in living with students that are like-minded like you, perhaps it's the same major, the same background, same academic interests, whatever the case might be, you can apply for one of these living learning programs. And if admitted, you can then live with those students for the year. You'll take connected classes. You will have some enrichment opportunities for service, social outings, academic enrichment, tutoring opportunities. So all designed to enhance the freshman year experience. So for instance, there's a program for engineering, there's a program for business, agriculture, first generation, fine arts, creative arts. So you get the idea. I myself lived on campus all 4 years. Believe me, no one really does that anymore. But for me, that was just my preferred experience of living on campus. So everybody is different, but just something to keep in mind. And then we get to one of my favorite slides, which is talking about Lexington. So we are, depending on where you're coming from in Ohio, we're anywhere from an hour to perhaps even 5.5 hours, especially for our Cleveland folks. Hello, Cleveland. But a lot of times people are not, maybe people don't understand what is actually in Kentucky or in Lexington. Sometimes they picture us as a very rural city or a very rural town, and that's not necessarily the case. We are what's referred to as a college town, meaning that you do get the elements of a bigger city, just a little bit on a smaller scale. So you can see our population currently sits at 330,000. So that's a really decent sized city. And you get the elements of all that big city feels, like I said, just a little bit on a smaller scale. You really get to know the locals, the neighbors, really get to enjoy the environment. Lexington is definitely the start of that Southern culture and Southern hospitality. I'm sure you probably heard in my accent, we do have a little bit of a twang down here. We say y'all a lot. We love our comfort food, and you could ask a stranger about sweet tea down here and they could probably give you an hour lecture on the different sweet teas and how all are not created equal, because that's just who we are down here in Kentucky. As you can also see, we're a very safe city overall. We're a great place to live. We are a big foodie town. If you, like myself, enjoy food, it is a great scene for all things cuisines. And you do get the urban, suburban, and rural areas all in one city, which is cool. So you might be coming from those terrains and you can get all of them down here at UK. Our campus is about 10 minutes from downtown Lexington, which you see behind me. So especially if students want to walk down there, check out the coffee shops, local restaurants, the basketball games, it's very accessible to do so. But then you can get out to your suburbs where you do a lot of your shopping. And it's really cool because Lexington is adding a lot of new food halls and shopping centers to the region, all designed to enhance the commerce and thrive in our city. And then you can also get out to the rural areas. And by rural, we really just mean horse farms. So if you don't know, Lexington is considered the horse capital of the world. If you don't know anything about horses, by the time you come here and you graduate, you will probably know more about the equestrian life than you probably wanted to, because again, that's just who we are. And we have Keeneland, which is our horse racetrack here in Lexington. It's a beautiful, beautiful scenery. Students love to go out there on the weekends, watch the horse races, really get the vibe of the bluegrass region and the equestrian culture. And on top of that, Lexington has a lot of great cultural elements to it as well. So for example, we host Latino festivals, the Latino Music Festival. We have the Roots and Heritage Festival, celebrating African culture, our Pride Festival every summer for our LGBTQ plus community. So we have a lot of great elements to it as well as your local farmers markets and local musician, food vendors playing in downtown Lexington, things of that nature. Again, in a normal year. Things are a little bit different. We kind of have to adjust given the circumstances, but you get the idea. And also beneficial for y'all to know, we put this in here just to give you a sense of, coming from Ohio, am I going to meet students from my neck of the woods? Odds are yes. We do get a ton of students from the Ohio region. As you can see, just over 1,700 are currently from Ohio. But you can also see a quite impressive stat is that close to a third, really, of our UK students are from out of state. We do have all 50 states represented down here. So not only are you getting your Ohioans, but you get the people from New York, California, Illinois, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, everywhere, and over 100 different countries. So a really great melting pot. Depending on where you're coming from, you might have to travel by plane, and that's totally fine. We have airports all throughout the Bluegrass region. There is one in Lexington, and then there's one about an hour in both directions, west and north of Lexington. So it's very accessible to travel anywhere, or if you're just wanting to travel for fun, you have that accessibility. And even if you decide you want to bring a car, Lexington is usually about a day's drive to about 2/3 of the country. So it's very easy to do a lot of weekend trips. Students love to take some weekend trips here and there. So just know that you have that accessibility to travel as well, and that you'll meet people from your neck of the woods. And then really the last slide before we kind of start to wrap it up is talking about student involvement. So any university will tell you this, and we are the exact same. We really emphasize our involvement on campus. It really is a great selling point. It really gives you that experience that will last a lifetime and make those friends that will last a lifetime. So we have well over 500 different student organizations for students to be a part of. So I guarantee there's probably something for everybody, whether that's your club sports, your Greek life, intramural sports, or something a little bit more niche, such as the squirrel watching club, the Bigfoot hunting club, the Quidditch team. I'm sure if it wasn't started already, I would start a Beyonce lovers club. Anything that you can think of, there's probably something. But on top of the student involvement, there are a lot of different events that we host throughout campus, again, on a normal year. So for example, our student activities board will have carnivals and festivals at the football stadium. We do drive-in movies. We've had laser tag. We do winter ice skating. We've done cosmic skating, which is glow-in-the-dark skating. We have cultural tastings. We have a lot of guest lectures come to campus. So we've had celebrities like Viola Davis, Morgan Freeman, Aziz Ansari, Richard Sherman, Trevor Noah, Anderson Cooper. We do pancakes every Friday evening at midnight. So believe me when I tell you that there are ample ways for y'all to get involved. And that's really what we emphasize and stress. Not only can you get the strong academics, which we want everyone to be focused on and really take pride in, but just knowing that you have that community in all different areas of campus for you to be a part of and to be proud to be a Wildcat, to be in the Big Blue Nation, to be in Lexington is another great selling point that we want y'all to know about as well. So with that being said, that pretty much wraps up our presentation. So we wanted to keep it as concise and kind of to the point as possible. If you all ever have any questions, our contact information is right there, both our emails, and then these are our Google Voice lines. So because we are working from home, as is the new normal for a lot of people, our office phones are just not the best way to get in touch with us right now, but whereas these Google Voice lines are connected directly to our personal phones, we can answer those really quickly. So with a call, a text message, like Kim Possible says, call me, beat me if y'all need to reach me. So if you have any questions at all, do not hesitate to reach out to us. But while we still have some time left, we wanted to make sure we got any questions answered that Addison didn't get to answer or address already. So if you all have questions, definitely feel free to submit those in the Q&A and we will try to bring those up and get those answered for you.
So we do have one question that just came up. I've answered a few, but since we're here on the Q&A, we can answer this live. And the student asked, if you're struggling in high school, is Kentucky hard to get into? The answer is, it depends on such a variety of things. Like Jacob mentioned earlier, we do a holistic review, and that truly means holistic. It's not like we just look at your AZT and GPA and then sort of look at that other stuff. We really do weight a lot of those things together. So maybe you don't have the best ACT score. Good news is this year you could go test optional if that doesn't show you who the best student you are is, if that makes sense. Your transcript will have a lot to do with it as well. And we're not just looking for pure numbers on your transcript. We're also looking for the classes that you took. Did you challenge yourself? and maybe you just didn't do so well? Did you start off with a rocky start your freshman year and work your way forward? And maybe your overall GPA doesn't look as impressive, but you show that steady progress. What does your essay look like? Do you have good essay writing and critical thinking skills that you display there? What was your involvement? Were you a well-rounded student? Did you go out and get involved in stuff? Or did you take time to go out and explore the world and gather a worldview, volunteer opportunities, whatever? So academics does have a part to do with it, as with any school, but we will truly look at everything we see in the big picture. And the good thing for students to know is that we're not going to hard code reject anybody super early in the process. We will work with you to try to get you to an admissible standard where we can give you a positive decision if that's at all possible. Another reason why you'll want to apply early, before that decision, that early decision deadline, December 1st, even if you're not a scholarship student, is that it gives us more time to work with you to help you get a favorable admissions decision if you do feel like you're a borderline student.
I couldn't have
Good
said
question.
so that was a great question. Any other questions that you all have? Like I said, feel free to submit those right now.
I'll hang on for a second in case they're slow typers,
Yeah.
right? Oh, Jacob, what did you study?
So I was a communications major. Actually, I started out in broadcast journalism. Couple semesters,
I did as well.
Couple semesters in, I just thought, well, this wasn't exactly what I envisioned for myself. So I decided to switch into communications. And with that, for me individually, my goal was to be in higher education. And so this is a great stepping stone for me doing recruitment. And I love recruitment. I know Addison does too. We love what we do, being able to work with
Yes, we do.
families. And especially recruiting in Ohio is really fun. But yeah, that's where I started out. It's journalism, but then I switched to communication.
Any other questions before we let y'all go?
Alrighty, y'all. Well, we appreciate you all so much for being here tonight. Again, we know that you all are busy. There are a lot of things going on, so we appreciate you all taking the time to be with us. Do not hesitate to reach out to us. Again, we are always here to help as much as we can. I think we just got one more question, Addison. So
This is a great question considering a basketball. So real quick, the last 2 seconds. Doesn't really matter, but who's your favorite basketball player from UK? There was a player that used to play here called Darius Miller. He won a national title. Me and him went to high school together, graduated a year apart from each other, went to the same church together as we grew up. So very cool to see him play for UK and be an integral part to winning the national title in 2012. So I had to say Darius, otherwise I'd get in trouble with his family.
that's difficult. I don't know. I've met a lot of players in my classes. I will have to say probably one of my favorite players I met was Carl Anthony Towns. Excuse me. He overall, all in all, was a great individual. He was very nice, hilarious. So he was just a ray of sunshine. So he was probably my favorite person. And he was great on the court as well. So that was probably mine. But that was a good question. Funny question. So, so that is pretty much all we have for you all. So again, thank you all so much. Our contact information is right there. We wish you all a great school semester. Like our governor, Andy Bashir, says, we will get through this. We will get through this together. And same goes to you all up there in Ohio. So thank you guys for your time. Have a great evening and go Cats.
All right, thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Addison, and thank you all for joining us this evening. When you close the window, there will be a quick link to a very quick 4-question survey, and we'd love any feedback that you can provide. Also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions at oacac.org. And like I said in the beginning, the recording will be available in about a week at the same website, oacac.org, along with all of the other recordings of all the other sessions. Thank you all and have a great evening.